Hello all. Not a long video, but I did go to the thrift store and ran errands this morning, and y'all seem to like these. So I hope you enjoy. Hades Himbo is very annoyed that Papa dared to go out and about, and did not return until after Hades had woken up from his mid-morning nap because. Get a Maine Coon, they said. They're so wonderful, they said. Get ready for a clingy toddler for the next 20, ish years. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do this one-handed as best I can, and I hope y'all enjoy.
My name is Took. I'm a disabled genderqueer weaver who's had life take odd turns, but who knows that even tattered and worn yarn still has value, and that tired joints and health flares don't have to stop the journey. I weave exclusively with secondhand fibers, aided with adaptive warping, HR and OSHA cats, and a wonderful found family. Welcome to Hawksong Weaving, where all our paths are a little bit warped.
Alright, doing this one-handed. First off, Erin, shout out to you. Thank you so much for buying one of the Mermac stickers. If you want one of your own of the Mr. Macfish for the nonprofit that I helped start, the link for that can be found down below. But I had to go and buy new stamps. So while I was there, I was an absolute sucker, and I admit that I got because Dungeons and Dragons now has stamps, and I tried to give you a cool one, Erin. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons now has stamps, and I am slightly annoyed that I wasn't able to use a beholder for the letter for to the RMV for the state of Massachusetts, because gotta be different. We have an RMV instead of a DMV, Registry of Motor Vehicles rather than a department. But I'm slightly annoyed that I could not use a beholder to do my application for my handicap placard, because I've got a new doctor, so I've now finally managed to get an application now that I finally have a license, because for a while I was driving with my old New Hampshire state license, because I did not have $150 to spare on a new piece of plastic. But I do absolutely need the handicap placard. It has gotten to that point. I am definitely moving more and more towards ambulatory wheelchair user, which is good and bad and neutral and exciting and upsetting all at once. There's a lot of complicated emotions around that. I am very grateful for the community that I have, because I have received a lot of offers from other local folks to help me figure out how to attach the wagon that I use for art market vending to the back of my wheelchair. So knocking on wood, that'll be a fairly easy process. Look, I live in Northampton, Massachusetts. There's a lot of really clever lesbians who have carabiners and are happy to use those carabiners for other sapphics. No, I'm not going to get into identity politics. Yes, I am transmasc. Yes, I am still sapphic. Shush. Yeah, I've got a haul here, aside from the, really neat D&T stamps. I got this scarf. I know I sell scarves, but this scarf is going to be turned into lining fabric, because I have an upcoming vending at a not nonprofit. I'm going to be vending through the nonprofit through Mermac, but I have an upcoming event at a punk show, and I find that if I have alternative style fabrics as lining fabrics, then my product does a little bit better. Also, I keep being adopted by young punks as a grandparent figure, which I'm not entirely mad about. But it's this Edgar Allan Poe scarf, and this is going to be used. This is a good bit of fabric. It's very thin. It's semi see-through, so I think it'll be a really neat effect. I've got some mildly sparkly yarn, and I think black with a little bit of sparkle, or a little bit of blue sparkle will be really, really neat for bags and the like of that. Yeah, I am so incredibly excited about this. So that's that. And then they were having a deal. They were having a sale, okay? So I let myself be upsold by the staff. And I got these really awesome button bracelets that I'm going to take apart for getting the buttons, because I don't need a button bracelet, but I do need buttons at this point. I am running low on buttons. If you want to donate buttons to me or to Mermac, again, the mailing address is down below. But got some funky buttons. I don't usually come across red buttons very often, so I'm very excited about that. Got these pearl buttons and these like metal buttons, and then more metal buttons. And I'm gonna have a good time breaking these down for parts. But because it was a buy two for $5, I let myself be upsold. And these beads and the leaves and the like will also be, busted up for parts for various projects. Because that's what I do. I get stuff from thrift stores and I use it for their not intended purposes. So that was a great find, and I'm very excited about that. And then I also got just some basic yarn. This was a little steeper than I would have preferred for this amount of acrylic, but $3.50 is still pretty darn good for this amount of just acrylic, good basic acrylic yarn. I haven't tested the texture yet. So, oh yeah, oh no, that's 1 moment. Half a mo. This is wool. Okay, this is a wool blend. Alright, so in that case, yeah, no, the price makes a lot more sense now. Okay, no, that makes absolute sense. Yes, this is a wool acrylic blend, and a nice, like, base white. So that'll be great for various projects. And then I'm 99% sure this is acrylic. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to have to melt test this. I'm usually very good at figuring this out. Based on how it's wrapped, I think it's acrylic, but something about the texture and the way that it's catching on to other fibers. I'm not sure about this one. I'm gonna have to heat test that. How you basically heat test is you go outside. Do not try to do this inside, and make sure there's like a good breeze and good air ventilation and stuff like that. Especially if you're asthmatic or have mast cell activation syndrome or weird allergies in general. You go outside and you take a lighter or a thumb drill, as my weird homeschooled self calls them. Look, there's some background lore that I haven't shared with y'all, and I'm pretty sure that one nature program I went to was not intended to be a like wilderness therapy nonsense, highly abusive, scare the kids straight situation. But I'm not sure some of the parents didn't think it was that, and I'm not sure at least one of the counselors didn't think it was that. Being compared to stray animals who need to bathe before their parents pick them up from the pound was an experience. Also, they lost my anxiety medication and I got blamed for it. Yeah, no, that's a whole other story. I tried to be fairly positive on this channel, but there's some lore. There's so much lore. And the most annoying thing about the lore is that it's complicated and takes multiple paragraphs to explain. But there is a lot of reasons I am the way that I am. And, yeah, I'm not going to get into that today or possibly ever. Like, if you really want to, like, there's the TikTok compilations, a lot of it's in there. Because you have to cope with humor. Otherwise, you'll spend your entire time sobbing and no one has time for that. Very similar to how, in response to the things that I cannot change, I have decided to move mountains and do a nonprofit. Because if I stop and I think about what's going on in the world right now, I will curl into a little ball and I will not be able to do anything productive. And I have, in the same vein as I have high-functioning autism, which in that I do not function well, but, it's still good enough by capitalism standards. I have high-functioning depression, so here we go. But yeah. And then I also, back to the main point of the video before I got in that tangent, just some nice trim. Is this elastic? I don't know if this is elastic or not. Is this, oh, it's elastic. Oh, that's neat. Okay. In that case, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. I'm probably going to, oh, these are brassiere straps. I'm 99% sure these are brassiere straps that have been cut off the brassiere. So that's a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna hand these to my sewist friend who's been we've been doing a like art swap, labor swap collaboration where I wove a bunch of yarn for her, and like she gave me a bunch of yarn. I wove it up for her. I'm gonna make her a bag to keep her switch in, and she. And then I gave her a bunch of fabric, and she's been sewing me a bunch of really cool pants, which I will do a fashion show for at some point. Um, and that's the last of the stuff for Hawksong weaving that I purchased. But I did get some very nice extra warm thermal socks for the household, but specifically for my partners because they are hard on socks and I have a backlog of socks that I need to mend. But also just, it's nice socks. Like, $1 for these? Like, these are warm. These are like microfiber lined. These are super nice. And like normally, like you're looking at $20-$30 for a pair of socks like these days. $1 each, like not bad. And like they're matching sets. Heck yes. Like of course I'm gonna grab those. But it was also like a conversation I was having with one of my partners the other day of like her like trying to figure out why she felt so cared for and why she felt so loved when like getting nice socks, and like trying to figure out like the meme of, oh, when you get older you get really, and you have like adult money, you get more excited about being given things like socks. And I think it's because it's keeping track of like basic needs of like, or like secondary needs rather, of like, no, you like, we have functioning socks but we don't have nice socks. So getting nice socks is nice. It's an extra thing that you're not necessarily going to want to spend money on yourself. But when like someone takes the time and the labor to go out and find and bring back to you really nice socks, it's just a little bit of extra mile. My partners have also taken to just, if I leave my water bottle anywhere in the apartment, they will just track me down and will bring it to me full of fresh ice water. And it's really good. Like, it's really effective. Like, I get more water into me, which is absolutely necessary for my pots. And then they get to blush and, you know, be all like, ah, why are you being this thankful? Because we have a common thing of like the bars below the surface of the earth, and they keep being in the stratosphere sort of thing. But it's just really sweet, and I really love them, and it's, you know, feeling mushy, and I like them knowing that I care for them, in the same way that they care for me, and they like the same thing in return. I am not a gamer. I don't game. People think I'm a gamer because like my like daily dialect has now added things like press F to pay respects, AFK. Though that one's a little bit dated and I get laughed at nicely when I use it. Or like just, yeah, like, or say like rep gamer or something like that, and people will hear me say those things and they go, oh, well, Took is clearly a gamer. I'm not a gamer. I date gamers. I'm not a gamer myself. My primary experience with gaming is old school RuneScape and interior design via Webkins. Whereas like my partners are gamers. And that's the thing about polyamory, is that it will really illustrate to you what your type is. Because like my type is very specific but also not specific at all. And it is fluffy-haired gamers with a heart of gold who are highly physically competent and can kill me but don't want to. I.e., like, one of my partners used to be on the Smith College fencing team. My other partner, like, was did something in football. I don't remember what it was. And she also like used to be really good at archery. And also does terrifying things on a mountain bike. If you mountain bike and you're dating someone new and they clearly like really care for you like very quickly, and like there's clearly that bond, don't show them pictures of your mountain bike injuries on one of your first dates. Not a good idea. It's gonna make them genuinely terrified. Don't do that. But yeah, no, I love them so freaking much. But why I got started on this tangent is that Aldi had hot cocoa bombs that were in the shape of like a heart, and it had like a little keyhole. And again, I'm not a gamer, but my partners have done their utmost to explain Kingdom Hearts to me, like the lore and like how things work in Kingdom Hearts. And there was a moment, like there were a bunch of moments when they were explaining this to me of like, this sounds like you're making this up. But the thing is, I know them, and they have better storytelling and lore building and world building skills than that. So I know that they're not making up things from Kingdom Hearts, though they easily could. But like, because they'd be better at it than that. But part of like, so like I'm gonna be giving them these hearts tonight, and one of them got like a little bit smushed in the car, and I'm like, oh no, it got Norded. So here are the two Cocoa Bombs. Y'all can choose which one, who wants the one that has been Norded. I don't entirely know what Norded is, but it's something. Maybe don't think it has something to do with NordVPN. I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised. Kingdom Hearts lore is ridiculous. I think that's everything. Oh, one last thing. Guess it's just for replacement pockets again for the sewist friend of mine. Because she understands what it's like to live in a world that is not designed for pockets. It's like one of the primary selling points for a lot of my hand-woven bags is like, no, these are great for Ren Fair costumes because normal skirts don't usually have pockets. Ren Fair skirts have even fewer pockets. Unless you like, go to a, like someone who like sells Ren Fair costumes and like understands the pain. But if you're thrift store shopping and you're finding a skirt for Ren Fair, it's not going to likely have pockets. I think that is mostly it. If you celebrate, happy Valentine's Day. If you don't celebrate, happy 50% off on chocolate tomorrow day. And I hope that everyone has a great weekend. I am going to be spending my weekend getting hot pot with my partners, relaxing, indulging in some fine Hobbit leaf, and just generally like recuperating and being with my people. I hope that everyone is able to do something similar. And barring that, I hope you have cats and or crafting that can, because I know my audience pretty well. Yeah, I hope everyone has a good time, and I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.